Welcome back to the Substantiate podcast, and I have some big news this week. So basically, season 4 of the podcast, we're going to be getting back to some more regular type hypothetical sports matchups. That is going to be coming up on Wednesday, September 13th. So that is when we're going to get back. That week will probably be some NFL coverage, not as much of a hypothetical sports matchup, but the next week will definitely be back to a more regular topic. But for the time being, we are going to go back to some of these questions from Poddex. So here we go. Have you ever done a technology detox? What did you give up and how long did you last? So the reason why I did these weird episodes over the summer is because I was away at sleepaway camp, and that was for around 50 days. So I had nothing except for my little iPod Nano that just had music on it and FM radio. So that's about as technologically detoxed as you can get. And again, that lasts for 7 weeks. All right, next question. iPhone or Android? Okay, so it seems like these are some techie questions. iPhone, but only because all of my friends have iPhones, and therefore iMessages and group chats, it's one of the only ways to communicate with them, but got nothing against Android. Do you get frustrated by people who are less tech savvy than you are? Frustrated, maybe a little bit, but I'm always out there helping my grandma. Whenever I see her, she's always got a long list of things for me to either fix or show her how to do on her computer or phone, and a lot of different things to help with, but I love to help. What is one app that you think more people should be using? And this one is The Athletic, to sort of bring it back to sports. And The Athletic is a great app. It has all kinds of articles from some of the best writers in the industry, and they're covering every sports team, all different professional teams, national teams, anything you can name. They've got in-depth coverage. They've got Q&As that go on frequently. They've got the top stories in sports and in-depth, accurate, fact-filled articles. All right, moving on to some other kinds of questions. Which movie do a lot of people find funny, but you don't? So this one is going to be too specifically. Last year during the pandemic, my mom showed me Caddyshack and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective for the first time, and I just didn't find the humor funny. It was too old. She loves it and finds it hilarious, but just wasn't that funny to me. All right. If you could bring back any canceled TV series, which TV show would you choose to bring back? So I would say Arrested Development, because that is my favorite TV show, or at least the first 3 seasons of it. In my opinion, some of the funniest content to ever be on television. But the only thing is, they had season 4 and 5, which were both reboots, years after the original, and they weren't that funny. And I wouldn't want more of that, because then it would just taint the original 3 seasons. But other than that, I mean, a lot of shows started to get old before they were canceled. The Office, like just the last couple seasons without Michael Scott, it's just not the regular Office. And, you know, other shows, Parks and Rec, they were sort of running out of ideas. But one show that maybe could have gone on a little longer is Modern Family. I mean, obviously, as all the kids grow up, then it sort of takes half the plot lines away that they could potentially have, because those are just half of the characters that, aren't home necessarily. But at the same time, I guess they chose to end the show. They didn't have to end the final season with everyone moving away. So they could have, waited until a different time for the show to end, and it could have kept going. But the way the question is phrased, would you bring back? So maybe not right away, but something in the future with the next generation of kids that they all have, and they could try to turn that into a TV show one day, but they probably won't be able to get all the actors and actresses back together for sort of a next generation of Modern Family, but it is what it is. All right, on to some more obscure questions. Do you think flying cars will ever be a thing? I would say sort of, but not in their current form. Not like a car that needs to go down a runway and then take off kind of thing. Not like a car that can have wings and take off. I think it would have to be sort of Back to the Future style, where something with wheels that can just have it go straight up and start moving. So, I guess that's a flying car, but in a different form than a plane. So more of like a helicopter almost, even if it's not with blades on top, even if it's like the wheels kind of thing, like in Back to the Future, or some other kind of technology that is yet to be discovered. But I think that is definitely a possibility in the future, because it's just something that is in everyone's mind, and eventually someone is going to keep trying to invent it, and eventually someone will succeed. I'm going to cut this episode and this season here, but like I said, come back for more episodes in September. It'll pick up on Wednesdays, and hopefully as September comes through, I'll have more guests. And I know I already have one recording booked with a guest, and more to come that I'm in contact with. And for more updates, make sure you're following Substantiate Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And so those are going to be the main places you'll be seeing it. I am temporarily just not going to continue on with the Facebook page, because it's just something that, for the cost of how much time I put into it, which granted isn't that much because it's all repurposed from Instagram or Twitter, it's just not seeing quite as much engagement. So just going to stick with Twitter and Instagram for now, at least. So anyway, hopefully you'll come back, and this season coming up, you have every reason to get hyped for it. It is going to be the best season of the Substantiate podcast yet. We had a nice run from February to, I guess, really June, of some great episodes with great guests. And I know there was a brief little pause there in April, I think it was. But hopefully we'll be going on another 12-week stretch, hopefully, like that, with guests. And if you know anyone that you think would be a great guest on this podcast, send me an email to substantiatepod@gmail.com, or send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll respond to all of those. And, 5-star reviews, always much appreciated. I also read all of those, so you know how to get in touch with me. And hopefully you'll have some great feedback for me. But until that time in September, I'm signing off. Thank you for listening to this episode of Substantiate. The best way to help support the show is to, number one, tell your friends about Substantiate. That is the number one way to support us. The second way is to leave us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Number 3, follow us at SubstantiatePod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Hello, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
And we're hosts of Capes on the Couch, the podcast where comics get counseling.
Superheroes don't always get to go home happy. That's where we come in.
We offer psychiatric and mental health analysis of comic book characters.
So check us out at capesonthecouch.live and across all social media platforms at Capes on the Couch.